Hey everyone, Andang here for some more Lord of the Rings online news. Yes, it's once again that time to be going over a producer's letter in April for 2020. Yeah, we're already in April and the producer's letter is finally here. So let's go ahead and hop right on in to some producer's letter goodness. This did come out a couple days ago and they greeted everybody and went over some of the stuff that they did in 2019, like finishing up the Black Book of Mordor, releasing stout axes, and a whole bunch of other stuff for LOTRO. While we're doing a news video, I should mention, since this is still April, LOTRO is completely free until April 30th. As far as quests and all that type of content. There's still like cosmetics and stuff you can buy in the store, but all the quests and expansion quest content is completely free in Lord of the Rings Online till April 30th. If you guys have for some reason not downloaded LOTRO yet and taken advantage of this offer, you should. It's an amazing deal. Take advantage of it. A big thanks to Standing Stone Games for supporting their player base in a time of global need. Big thanks to them for that. Anyway, they did release the raid with Shelob, which was another huge milestone, and they did some virtue changes and things like that. But 2020 is upon us, and 2020 is apparently going to bring legendary item changes, which I am very concerned about, because the one thing that I don't want to miss out on is all the progress that I've put into my LI. And I'm sure there's a ton of players that have put in so much progress into their legendary items, they don't want to lose a second of all that grinding for Enfalis scrolls, or buying it from the store if you're that kind of player. And so they don't want to lose out on that time or money. And thankfully the developers seem to be aware of this. I'm still very weary to see what they do. I think the LI system definitely needs changes. They need to improve it. It's still way, way, way too long of a grind. This whole problem would have been solved if they just had, you have one LI from the start and just make it that be the way the system worked out from the very beginning. LIs were awesome when they first came out, and then they kept adding to it, and it just became grindier and grindier and grindier until we are in this mess that we're still in, even after the imbuement system. So hopefully they'll update that, and it'll be great in 2020, but I'm cautiously optimistic. Their first update will be in late spring, which could be as late as like June, I think. Let's do a search here. When does spring end? June 20th, yeah. So it could be, middle June before we get this update. But anyway, it's a key theme for 2020 that this update will start, which is the war between Dwarves and Orcs. Which, if you guys saw the news video I did earlier announcing the Gundabad expansion, you guys would have already known this. They talked about it there. What they didn't talk about is that there's going to be a new major storyline called The Legacy of Durin and the Trials of the Dwarves. The storyline will continue throughout the year as they weave toward 2021 and visit the ancient dwarf stronghold of Gundabad. The Legacy of Durin and the Trial of the Dwarves storyline will be free to all players. Yes, unlike the Black Book of Mordor, this will be completely free to all players. That's huge, guys. We're finally getting back into that epic story spirit and giving us that free content. And man, it seems like LOTRO is just on the free bandwagon right now. They're making everything free, it seems, including this storyline. So that's going to be pretty awesome, I think. There's also going to be the regular update, which supplements the main story. So in other words, there's side quests you can pay for, is what that's saying, I believe. Our late spring update, called Mists of Wilderland, will take players to the Wells of Langflood, which I looked up. The Wells of Langflood. Turns out that's just another name for Upper Anduin. Basically, the Wells of whatever it is, Langflood. Langflood's the name of the river Anduin. It's an alternate name for the river Anduin. The wells is the like start of the river. It's where I guess like Rohan origin story stuff goes on, so that'll be potentially interesting. I know that there's other stuff involved with the Rohan origin story, but I guess some of the wild men of Wilderland came from this upper part of the river initially. Supposedly. I did some quick reading. I could be wrong on that. Hard Hit, welcome, welcome. Soft Snake, welcome, welcome. Ponton, nice to have you here as well. Will join Durin's line to march and retake the Dwarf lands. In addition, a small 12-person raid will be released in the fall. Why include this here? So I guess this raid will be related to this somehow, but this raid won't come out until fall. Okay, so I'm assuming like the Shelob raid, the content that it's related to will be released at a different time. Interesting. Storyline is free, but in order to reach that point without any Valar pay method, you still need to pay a lot. That's true, Soft Snake, that's true. Yeah, it is still a lot of leveling. To be fair, I guess you could grind it out and, you know, not play through any of that story, but man, that's not how I'd want to do it. But still, it's not requiring players who bought, you know, say, Minas Morgul for the Black Book to have to, you know, buy a whole nother expansion to experience this, so that's cool. It also seems like this is potentially going to be one of LOTRO's shortest storylines, even shorter than the Black Book of Mordor, because it sounds like that this is just going until 2021 with Gundabad. Which means this is probably going to be a really short storyline. Like, Bingo Boffin was probably shorter than this, but I mean, this is pretty close to that as far as length, I'm guessing. Druid's Fire, welcome, welcome. Nice to have you here as well. Raids take a long time to make. Yeah, that's true. And also, they did just release the Shelob raid, so for them to release another raid this spring would be insanity. And would honestly be very frightening because I'd be worried that the raid would have not be polished or anything. It's just weird that it's mentioned here. I think it has to be mentioned here because it's related to this. Because, you know, they could be working on a raid that would be related to stuff that they're doing in the fall down here. But anyway, we'll get to that. In the early summer, we will continue our first Challenge League, which is a new temporary server that allows players to fight each other for honor, with the defeated required to retreat from the battlefield, rally themselves, and move back into the world to continue the fight. So the fact that there's rally themselves inside commas and then move back into the world to continue the fight makes it sound like there's going to be some type of questing or something the player's going to have to do. I don't know why you'd word it this way if it was just you go to the res circle. So, you know, that's interesting. You might have to do quests or something to bring yourself back from the brink. I don't know. I'm reading into that a lot, I know, but just trying to make sense of why there's so much, like, broken up there. Brandeth, welcome, welcome. Now that you're here, I can start. Thanks, Brandeth. I was waiting. The Sons of Elrond, Elladan and Elrohir, now this is the part I don't like, have begun a discussion with perhaps too much pride, and are arguing about which of them would make the greatest leader and support the greatest heroes. What? What kind of lore-breaking nonsense is this? Like, here's the thing. Maybe there's so many other things that would make way more sense than this, in my opinion. I feel like maybe Legolas and Gimli, you know, siding with elves or dwarves would be way better than this. Having, like, forgotten, like, you know, the last remnants of the clans of Arnor, trying to decide still to this day, like a family feud type thing, you know, who's the best clan, like the Rudowrans or the Cardillinians, or, you know, the other kingdom I can't think of right now. deciding, you know, which of those fallen kingdoms were best, like for once and for all kind of a thing. Something like that would make way more sense, even though that's even lore breaking, than this nonsense. Brother rivalry, yeah, but brother rivalry is one thing. Brother rivalry that leads to a server-wide battle across Middle-earth is a whole other thing. Right? Like, that's leagues of magnitude different. Oh my goodness. Making sense is not SSG's strong suit. I think SSG does a pretty good job of bending the lore to justify gameplay. This is going to take a lot of Maid of Lions. Like, Maid of Lions is going to be putting in some major overtime to justify the Sons of Elrond enlisting the help of, you know, thousands of players. But, you know, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Take up the banner of either Elladan or Elrohir and venture forth to complete deeds and challenge heroes that align with your rival. Brave players can earn milestones for completing deeds. Assuming this milestones means the same thing as in-game travel points, that would mean that you could complete deeds to unlock maps similar to how the creep players do that in the Entmoors. That would be pretty amazing, being able to just like port all over the place. Now, before I finish reading this, here's what I want to see from this. If they're gonna, let's accept the conceit that they're gonna break the lore. Here's what I want to see. I want to see the end fight of all this, the culmination, be inside Elrond's library. Hear me out here. Hear me out. And basically the winner, I'm assuming that, there probably won't be, but I'm assuming that this will still have like epic story quests and things like that on the server. They might not, but let's assume that they do. Only the players that win the fight for Elrond's library get to go and continue the epic story that goes to Elrond's library 1,000,000 times. Could you imagine fighting throughout Rivendell just so that you can have the quest rights to be able to go there? I'm sure that that will never happen in LOTRO, but it was a thought that crossed my mind. I think it would be cool. Speaking of lore breaking, hey, I said if they're going to break the lore, might as well really break it, right? And those characters will appear in a special leaderboard. Awesome. Leaderboards coming back to LOTRO. That's a huge thing. We've been missing leaderboards. Please make more leaderboards, not just for this, but for other things too. Will you rush to honor your patron by completing deeds, or will you spend your time challenging rivals? So that sounds very Entmoorsy. You can either, you know, do stuff to improve your character, and you know, get ports and things, or do stuff fighting. It sounds like that this won't have any type of normal quest on the server. It sounds like it's just deeds and PvP, which I'm fine with. I don't think a PvP server needs to have all the questing, although I think it would make for a much more interesting world if you had like the entire of Middle-earth open for PvP and just let players go quest and have fun fighting each other. What'll be really interesting is how they show in-game the difference between people aligned with Elladan and Elrohir. Because imagine if you didn't know and you just like, that would be like very chaotic. Like they're going to have some way of differentiating them. So it'll be interesting to see how they handle that. All right. That being said about the lore breaking, I am very excited for a PvP server coming to LOTRO. That is huge. It's going to be a big deal. I think we're going to see a huge influx of players, assuming that this is free. I'm guessing it won't be because it's a legendary server. I'm guessing it's going to be VIP only still. But man, if they made this free, imagine the rush of players that would come to do PvP in LOTRO. I think it would be more than a lot of stuff. Yeah, open world would be great for PvP. Yep. Yeah, exactly. On its separate server. Yep. I agree. Yeah, if it wasn't on a separate server, I think it'd be an issue. But being on a separate server. Now, here's what I really hope doesn't happen. I really hope 10 years from now, we don't regret them opening the server because they haven't touched it in 10 years. And it's just a huge mess. And, you know, players complain about it not being updated at all. I think it'll have an advantage because you don't have to be updating, you know, the enemy side this whole time. So they do have that in their favor, that it shouldn't require updates specific to it, because in theory there should always be the you know, the players advancing together, and there won't be anybody left behind in theory, aside from class bouncing, which is an issue anyway on the server for raiding and everything else. So hopefully they don't just completely abandon this server once they release it out into the world like their other PvP system. Anyway, let's continue on. Also this summer, we are inviting you to one of Middle-earth's most historic moments, the Wedding of Aragorn and Arwen. You guys have been super thrilled about this. Like, I think it's pretty cool. Some of you are like, this is all I've been living for. Please, like, I'm like, okay. So yeah, I'm really excited for it. It's a cool, happy moment that we get to experience. We don't get very many just completely pure happy moments in LOTRO, so I'm really excited about this. I think it'll be a lot of fun, and I can't wait to see what silliness they do with characters like, you know, the Hobbits or Legolas and Gimli or other things. And like some of the lines are going to be amazing from some of the side characters, I can already tell. You're going to need a bigger wardrobe. Absolutely, Druid's Fire. See, I don't know anything about HCL and DDO Druid's Fire. You'll have to let me know about that. Anyway, it continues on. Prestigious guests have traveled vast distances to bless the new king, and there is a need for people to support the celebration. Additionally, artisans are hard at work creating goods fashioned for the wedding, and guests can expect to look their best for the event. So this sounds like we're going to get a lot of cosmetics and a lot of goodies, and potentially new crafting recipes if we're part of the artisans, but I'm guessing it's just a bunch of stuff to buy. In addition, we're unveiling a new seasonal festival event for the Lord of the Rings Online, which commemorates weddings and merriment throughout Middle-earth, featuring a unique festival questing area within Middle-earth. Minas Tirith, rather. It would be awesome if this seasonal festival, because of the timeline in Middle-earth, every year they could technically do somebody else's wedding. How awesome would it be if every year you had like some other character's wedding from Middle-earth in the festival? That would be so good. I really hope that happens. And then also allow you to replay all the previous weddings as well, I think would be pretty stinking awesome. And yeah, the Wedding of Aragorn and Arwen, that's like, I know that you probably don't have to be married in Middle-earth to be king, but historically speaking, getting married really kind of finalizes your kingship, right? So this is a huge deal, and is what we've been building towards in the background for over a year now. So I'm excited about that, and technically since like way back in Rivendell. But anyway. You would love recipes for crafting outfits? That would be really cool. Cosmetic recipes. That would be awesome. A lot of characters get married in Middle-earth, especially moving forward, right? Like, Aragorn and Arwen get married, and then, like, it's like, boom, 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 boom. All these characters get married, including the hobbits. Like, you know, there's a lot of people that get married. So it'd be cool to see all that. They're making a wedding festival so they can be accurate for Sam and Rhodey's wedding in the future. Exactly. That's what I was thinking. Getting prepared for that big wedding. All right. In the fall, we will see a new type of mega update. So again, new stuff. The War of the Three Peaks, which I love this title. So Gundabad's one peak, right? Lonely Mountain's probably another peak. What's the third peak? It's one mountain. All right, one mountain. That's fair. Erebor. Erebor is the lonely... Anyway. Third is Moria. Keys, welcome, welcome. Brandeth. I object to Aragorn and Arwen getting married. Aragorn is too needy, and Arwen needs to go across the sea. Sev said when you asked him which peaks they were, and said he thought it was Gundabad. One mountain with 3 peaks. Okay. Still though, War of the Three Peaks, awesome title. I really like it. Which will provide new content for the characters of all levels. Durin's line begins war with the orcs as they prepare to advance to Gundabad. This update continues the legacy of Durin's storyline, but also includes other end-game content. This update will also open up the new area of the front lines of the war that allow any character, regardless of level, to come to Durin's aid. While open, players will complete missions, earn favor for both Durin's line and Dwarves, Artisans, Smiths, and support the war effort. So this sounds like a zone that's closer to like a festival zone, but like a war festival, which seems pretty awesome. What it doesn't sound like is, all right, we're making this zone, and it's going to be just like in ESO, where this zone is now suddenly just for everyone to go through, and you know, all the quests and everything. It doesn't sound like that they're scaling an entire update. It sounds instead that there's, because it says continues the storyline, blah blah blah, includes other in-game content. This update will also, so not this, you know, the in-game content's separate. This update will also open up a new area, blah 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 blah. And yeah, the while open is really interesting too. That's a really good point. Interesting. I'm guessing just while the war is going on. It sounds like a festival type thing, a festival type area where players can do actions that help with the war effort that are probably similar to festival quests. So that's what I'm getting from this, as like a, you know, having no idea what it is. That's what I would envision this being. What I would have loved is for them just to be like, yeah, all players can go at the same time to come do this whole zone. I'm sure that would require a lot of tech stuff that LOTRO hasn't even come close to developing, but it would have been really cool to see. But this isn't that new area between Evandem and Trestlebridge? Okay. Yeah, I don't know. This year we will be adding a new premium housing area into the game in Rohan. We already took a look at that in a previous stream. Rohan housing is divided into 2 new housing neighborhoods, both located in West Rohan. Rohan housing will also bring some new features, such as stable hooks and custom lighting hooks. Super excited for Rohan housing, but man, it really ruins the landscape in West Rohan. My goodness, these things are huge. Right by Edoras, there's now this settlement that's way bigger than Edoras. I don't like it. From a questing perspective, going through there, it's a nightmare. They should have put this housing in like its own instance outside of stuff. Like what, I don't know if you guys remember, if you played RuneScape, if you remember the like one house that everyone went through this like portal and they went to their own house kind of a thing. I wish there was like a portal somewhere in Rohan and you ported to this thing, because man, it's so weird to see how giant these neighborhoods are. It's kind of unbelievable. Or like somehow find a way to have it be open on landscape and then have you port to a neighborhood. The instance in the hills was fine, it's out of the way. The one out in the plains, yeah, the one out in the plains is really in the way. I really don't like it. I think if they had made the housing, like a base housing neighborhood, just open in Rohan, so like there was this huge area, and then somewhere in there there's a port, would have made way more sense than having it be this giant enclosed, like gated community that's way bigger than Edoras. Like, it makes no sense. Yeah, players have pointed out way better housing areas than how they implemented the Rohan housing. Yeah, absolutely. It's a mess. This is probably the landscape side of Rohan housing is probably my biggest disappointment. We still haven't seen the actual housing, which I'm really excited for. I'm so looking forward to having my own stable with all my mounts. Like that's something I've been wanting since they first announced premium housing way back with Gondor. So super excited about that. You hope that this missions won't be a new system. Oh, I'm sure that it's just like the other million systems. Yeah. Standing Stone Games loves to make systems and then never continue them. And it's not even like they use the same landscape. They built huge rocks and stuff. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a lot. They did a lot there. Mistweaver, welcome. Nice to have you here. It continues on. This fall, we will also see a new legendary server. Didn't they call this PvP server a legendary server? No, it's Challenge League, which is a temporary server. So it's a temporary server, not a legendary. All right, anyway. A new legendary server. We are looking forward to adding new challenges and gameplay experience for this new server, and hopefully slower progression. In our current vision of this server, Sauron will play more of an active role in punishing heroes who defy his will. I wish this said Angmar. At times during play, the Eye of Sauron will open, inspiring all evil in the world to rally and rise to his dark challenge. These enemies will be far more dangerous during this time. However, when the eye is open, your characters will rise to the challenge and deliver greater increased damage. This sounds like we're just going to make both of you more powerful, which does nothing. Anyway, in defiance of the Dark Lord, beware when the Eye of Sauron is open. We intend to keep the current legendary experience going in 2020 as well, and we'll continue to open up new content on those servers. Yeah, I'm like, this is a challenge server. Why are you... Make it a challenge server, please. Please make it be a challenge server. Don't increase the players as well. I mean, it could be pretty awesome depending on the increase, right? Like if we're just like... But the thing is, you wouldn't be just like slicing through orcs or anything because they're more powerful too. I don't know. Yeah, see, I would like to see the enemies get more powerful when the eye's open. Maybe have players get more powerful when the eye's closed. I don't know. Don't do it at the same time. That's pointless. That's just like leveling in LOTRO. After we stopped getting new skills, it's kind of pointless. Finally, we'll round out the year with an update to the Yuletide festival with new quest activities and rewards. Awesome. new quests in the Yuletide Festival. I'm actually really excited about this. Hopefully this will be a continuation of the quest that they started, or maybe even a whole like bingo boffin type-esque experience like what we got with the Halloween festival. I'd love to see something like that. Anyway, they say we're excited for the new year. Not sure exactly which new year they're referring to at this point. I mean, it's April. And we appreciate you taking this journey with us. Severalin. So, I think because we already found out about Gundabad, this letter was a lot less interesting. I am glad that there was some new stuff in there. I'm glad they didn't just release this right at the start of the year, because that allowed us to get new information in here. Hey, Godlike Epic, welcome. Nice to have you here. But man, there's like the virtue thing we already knew about, and the LI thing we already knew about. I guess that's just the LI thing. We already knew about this, but we did get some titles of things. This was fully new, this whole paragraph, which I'm excited about, but don't like the premise of Elladan and Elro here. And then the wedding is going to be huge. We already knew about it, though. This mega update sounds interesting. I'm excited to see how they finally include new players in a new content release. That hasn't really happened since Helm's Deep, and we didn't like how they did Helm's Deep. So, you know, this is pretty cool. I'm excited to see what they do with this. Brandon says, I'm skeptical? Brandeth is skeptical about any new system SSG throws out. Absolutely. That's why I brought up the whole PvP server. I'm very skeptical about... I just said it again. How did I... Anyway. I'm very skeptical about this challenge server. Because I don't think that they're going to support this long term, right? It does say temporary, though. So maybe they know they won't support it long term, and it's just going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. Go home, Andang. You're skeptical. Oh, my goodness. Is it even confirmed that it's open world PvP? No. But it is confirmed that it's going to be player versus player. And there's going to be milestones, and that there's a battlefield. Fight each other for honor with the defeated required to retreat from the battlefield. So it's not open world. Yeah, it's not open world. You're right, Squirrel. Really wanted PvP this whole time, but not with the lore. Why does everything have to fit in the lore completely? It doesn't have to fit in the lore completely. I'd be fine with PvP. And I even gave like examples earlier in the stream as to what I'd like to see. Like, you know, Legolas versus Gimli. Like, that could be a really interesting PvP server. If you had like siding between Legolas and Gimli at like Helm's Deep or something, and it gets like out of hand in like a crazy one-off thing, like that would be hilarious. Or you have like the Kingdoms of Arnor, you know, once they separated, have players align with one of the three and like they vie for control. That would have been way better lore-wise than Elladan and Elro here. But anyway, hey, the Master X-Man, welcome. Who cares about elves anyways? Yeah, right. You doubt they will do 100% of the letter this year? So let's not higher our standards for this year? I think given LOTRO's team size, it's quite possible that they'll get everything done this year. Because it's not that hard what they're saying. There's going to be an LI change, which they've been working on for a while. There's going to be a spring update, which they probably already have done. there's going to be a summer update, or at least, you know, pretty far along. There's going to be a summer update with this challenge server, which sounds like it's one person's pet project that probably had a few more devs jump on to help finish it. There's also the wedding, which really shouldn't, that's like Made Alliance thing, I'm guessing. It's really not going to be that many devs involved. And then there's this mega update, which is a big update, which we'd normally be getting at the end of the year anyway. And then also the premium housing area of Rohan, which they've been working on for a while. And so it makes sense that that would come out as well. I don't see anything here that's not achievable. I think if they had said, we're going to do 3 content updates and all this, then yeah, I'd be very skeptical. But they're only doing 2 content updates with like a wedding as a bonus thing. But yeah, especially taking up the banner of one of the 2 elves. Like, they're basically the same person. Anyway. Yeah, Wolf Run. Region-wide PvP? No. No, sadly not. Apparently it's going to be a battlefield. Yeah, we were pointing that out earlier. It's not going to be open world, it sounds like. Because you have to... Defeated, required to retreat from the battlefield. I'm guessing it's going to be a bigger location than the existing PvP maps in LOTRO, but we'll see. You don't read the book, so Elrond never had sons? Pretty sure Elladan and Elro here are in the Peter Jackson films. Pretty stinking positive about that. That'd be cool, a bigger map than the Entmoors, yeah, man. Existing area like Karsgar questline, that'd be cool. Where? They're extras, I'm pretty sure. I'm gonna look this up now. Yeah. Yeah, they're totally in it. Yep. Yeah, they're there. They're just not mentioned. Yeah, they're in like flashbacks and stuff. And also when they reforge that sword, I think they're there as well. I think they remake the sword, Aragorn's sword. I like the letter R better than the letter A. I guess I'll go with Elro here. Malvine, that's awesome. Or you like one's outfit better than the other. See, that's where I think most players are going to get. They're going to look at one outfit versus the other, yeah. Or maybe the banners will be different. This is so silly. But still, I'm super excited to see what a PvP server looks like in LOTRO. I just don't like the premise. Don't want to help dwarves again. Yeah, it is more dwarf content. I was going to say that this is going to be one of the last dwarf updates we'll get for a while, but I don't know if that's going to be true, honestly. At some point, we're going to help hobbits. So, you know, that's good. Hey, Jenkikin, thank you so much for the follow. Really appreciate it. I can mispronounce anyone else's name if they're interested in following too. Anyway, I totally lost my train of thought, but but yeah, they could have done so many different things with the lore that would be better than this one. I feel like this seems pretty weak. So yeah, that's what's going to be going on I was going through what was new. The only other thing that's new is this. So we really only learned about the server, a little bit more information about the update that's coming, and then a little bit more information about the update later this year. But everything else we pretty much already knew, other than this new legendary server. But still, it sounds like that this is going to be a year that focuses more on improving LOTRO than giant updates to the game. And I have a map of Rovanion here, of LOTRO. We're going to be doing this Upper Anduin update, which is called... Mists of Wilderland, which will take place in the Wells of Langflood, which sounds like it's going to be a smaller update than normal, but who knows? It might be the same size as Vales of Anduin, which would be pretty large. I'm guessing this will be a smaller update, though. I kind of hope that it's a smaller update. I want to see LOTRO get more improvements. Even if those improvements are all back in, just fix the lag, I'd be fine with that. I kind of don't want to see... I would much rather see LOTRO get improved than see another system that they're going to abandon, or continue to ignore all this lag. Like, I don't know. I'm very excited about the expansion. I'm glad that they're still doing... that they're not doing an expansion every year, but they are doing it every year and a half, it sounds like. I'm excited about that. I'm also very excited about the wedding. But they really have to fix the lag in LOTRO. And I've been saying this for years. I still believe it. What they need to do is have every single developer get involved on fixing the lag. And Cordovan's addressed this. He's like, well, you wouldn't want, a lot of people fixing the lag because they... Here's my solution. Cordovan can be making motivational emails to cheer up the team and help them be better. The art team, motivational posters about fixing the lag. Every dev focused 110% on fixing this lag and not building a single other thing until this lag gets fixed. When Andang's holding a pen, he's getting scientific. It's getting serious at the very least. But they really, really have to focus on this lag. It's way too big of an issue. I don't understand why we have worse lag now than maybe ever. After we had previously had improvements to lag, it seems like we took one step forward, 2 steps back, and we're back into the same spot where we were before. Like, we thought Minas Tirith lag was bad, but the lag we've been having since Minas Morgul, not even the launch of Minas Morgul, but like the update after Minas Morgul, has been horrendous. The free month hit the servers a bit. See, but the lag was starting before the free month hit. It was like right before the free month, but right after Minas Morgul, we had major lag hit. And by the way, the lag before this major lag was already bad enough for them to be taking a break from developing completely and fixing it. But man, they've got to fix this. And yeah, the free content is definitely hitting it. Yeah, Druids, I was reading Brandus' comment. I didn't say you were saying that. Yep. But yeah, it's crazy. They've got to fix this. If Cordovan cut his hair, the king would be mad. Well, the hamster maybe would stop tripping, right? Oh my goodness. But yeah, I would much rather if it literally said we will fix the lag and that was the entire producer's letter, I would have like stood up and like just been clapping like no tomorrow. I would have doubted it that they would actually have done it, but at least it would have been really good news, right? It's become way too big of an issue, and it's been an issue to some extent in LOTRO forever, and it's just really frustrating. Actually, think about it. The hamster runs out of fear. But if he cut his hair, the hamster would calm down. Ah, see. So maybe he needs to grow his hair even longer. I don't know. Now I kind of want to see somebody have like a graph of Cordovan's hair and like lag noticed in LOTRO and see if there's a correlation there, right? Andang, why do we need more housing? I don't think we need more housing, obviously, but I really want to see Rohan housing and have the stables. Because it's not just like, oh, here's another flavor of a house. No, they're going to add in stables where you can see like all your mounts and everything, which is, to me, more than just like a cosmetic change between one area and another, right? It's actually like, not gameplay mechanics, but like a quality of life difference between the two, right? Which I think could be really, really good. You think we should have more than one community manager right now? I think we should have at least one community manager per game. Nothing against Cordovan. I think Cordovan's done a great job. I just think that there aren't enough... you should have one community manager per game, right? You want to pay their salary? I mean, they've hired more employees at Standing Stone since they've turned into Standing Stone, and it seems like the expansions are very successful. And if you divided the salary over the cost of an expansion, I think that, I mean, we're already paying for one salary. Why not pay for another, right? A community manager that actually plays LOTRO. Yeah, I've seen that criticism a lot of Cordovan. I do agree with it. But I don't want to give him too hard of a time. I think he does a pretty good job, all things considered. I think that it shows in his streams that he's maybe not, but I think as far as the actual day-to-day community manager stuff, he does a fantastic job. But it's really not for me to judge because, you know, I don't think any of us see what Cordovan is actually doing every day. Or for that matter, anyone on the LOTRO team. So I think it's very easy to judge from the outside, but being actually in it, it's, you know, probably a totally different situation than what we know. You've not been stalking them. That's good to know. That's good to know, Brenda. But yeah. Should try to visit all the servers, but rotated. I can see pros and cons for both. I feel like it makes much more sense for Cordovan to try to be experiencing as much of the game as possible. I don't think on stream is the way for him to do that, though. So I do think that when Sapiens was doing the multi-server thing, you know, he obviously had already played the game off stream and, you know, done all that. But I do wish that maybe SSG paid Cordovan to play the game during work hours off stream. Headcount is a tricky thing. If you have the budget to hire one person, what kind of dev do you hire? Oh no, I completely agree, Druid's Fire, and I would much rather see them hire people to work on lag, you know, server techs and things like that. But I'm also saying that I would like to see a dedicated Lord of the Rings community manager. And I know that's a lot to ask. I'm sure it's probably not feasible. That's what I want. We're in a 12-year-old game. Most of the stuff that I request, 99% of the stuff I request in a stream that I'd want, never will happen in LOTRO. But it'd be cool to see. Drum Alexi, welcome, welcome. Nice to have you here. You wish they would focus more on actually bringing a new class or adding a new subclass to the current ones. It's cute that they want to do leagues and stuff, but LOTRO is not that type of game. I don't think that a really big percent of people in LOTRO for leaderboard stuff. Here's what I would like to see instead of a new class. Class balance, again, and expand the existing classes' skill trees to have a legendary skill at the end of each skill line beyond the skills that are currently at the end of the line. Have an even more powerful skill at the end that really makes you want to think, do I really want to be in this line? Because man, look at that other skill over there. I really want that. That would be awesome to see. That's what you meant by subclasses? Okay, yeah. Yeah, I would like to see subclasses as well. I think that would be really cool. I'd also like to see the race that you pick have more of an impact in LOTRO. Want to see a blue line legendary skill where you revive everyone around you and everyone 20 minutes or something? Yeah, as long as they have, balances between them or make everyone together so powerful and then match the content to that, right? But there needs to be some new awesome skill. None of the classes have gotten a new skill since Helm's Deep. And that was back in 2013. 7 years. It's been 7 years since we've gotten new skills. That's over half of LOTRO's lifetime. Think about that for a moment. Over half of the lifetime of LOTRO, we've not gotten new skills. There have been a few balance things that have kind of made new skills, but generally speaking, no new skills as a broad overarching thing in 7 years. And I remember back in the day with Rise of Isengard, where there were huge changes and everyone was so excited. It was a whole new thing. Oh, I loved that back in the day. In your opinion, it's better they don't add more broken stuff? Absolutely. Yeah, I agree as well. Every new thing they add is a liability at this point, right? It's more stuff that they're going to have to fix later. Yep. I agree. Yeah, I definitely don't want to see... On the one hand, I want to see a new class in LOTRO, but at the end of the day, I do realize that if they add a new class in LOTRO, it's probably going to be overpowered. The other classes aren't going to be as balanced, and it's just going to be the continuation of what happened with the Bjorning before that takes multiple years to fix, and it's kind of Band-Aid fixed, and it's, something totally different. What class would even be released? I guarantee you they have plenty of ideas for new classes. They just haven't had the amount of time to make them. You love the you love the game. It is great. Just fix the stuff. Yeah, exactly. Just fix it. So it's not just a bit too ranty, and we should have an opportunity if we can use a yellow trait shield of the Dudane, but lesser version of it. Your thoughts on a new class would be, what role would fulfill in in-game raiding? What is currently lacking there? Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, for me, I've always wanted to see a ranger class. And no, it's not the same as a hunter class. Everybody always says that. It's not. Beorns are still really good. Yeah, probably. Or they should revamp current races, redo the race traits. Yeah, it'd be nice to see them make races be important again. Love bear heels. Yeah, I do too. Leveling system revamp should come up because 130 levels is really daunting for new players. Yeah, I would like to see them do something like ESO. I know that's going to be a huge undertaking, but I think that would be a good solution maybe. Or like we'll see what WoW does. Like WoW's kind of a test case right now, right? We'll see how that goes. I would much rather see, because of the way Middle-earth is, I would much rather them see them do something like ESO. Because to me, changing how the levels work, it's all right. Like I would like to see WoW the way they're doing it in WoW, where you can basically pick what expansion you want to do in the middle and then get to the end game expansion. Like that's a cool compromise. But being able to go anywhere like you can in ESO or in Skyrim, in Middle-earth, makes way more sense, and it would allow adventuring so much more, and it would cause so much more exploration for new players. And man, it would have been awesome to see that from the beginning in LOTRO. Why does music heal need might? I don't know, man. I don't know. How'd you describe the Ranger class in your words? In my words? The Ranger class would be focused on being a defender of others from a distance. In a stealthy sort of way. So imagine a stealth ranged, basically a stealth support class in general. It'd be similar to the captain, but not heavy armor and all that stuff. It wouldn't be super tanky, but it'd be like a single target defender. Yeah, like a stealth melee range class. Yeah. Because you already have the stealth burglar as for melee, have a stealth range as a ranger. And yeah, I don't see, as long as the Lord of the Rings franchise gets adapted, I don't think there's any way to get a difference between casuals and top raiders as far as skill set goes. Let alone, and I know there's a huge thing in stats as well, but yeah. Yeah, they had a huge increase with this expansion. That is true, Druid's Fire. Bigger than I think ever before. It was a huge divide for stats. Yeah, that's true. Be able to switch from ranged to melee with one skill. You see, that would be cool. That would be cool. But yeah, I think being able to protect one target, or maybe set up to where maybe be like a captain, but only if somebody gets like attacked. So be like a defensive captain instead of a proactive captain. So like the flip side of a captain, where if people get attacked, maybe it does increases your damage or something like that. Similar to what I imagine a guardian should work, but doesn't really. I don't know. There's some cool things they could do with a ranger class. That would be very unique from everything else in LOTRO, I feel like. Beyond a ranger class, I really haven't thought of anything that would make a lot of sense. But that's the one I would add. See, a ranger is a basic damage class and not really a buffy support class. Yeah, okay. I mean, I'm. The thing is, ranger is so abstract in LOTRO. Because you know, Aragorn's ranger is very different than the Grey Company, right? The eye changed? What are you talking about? LOTRO has done it so rangers have different subclasses, which are already in game. Some are LMs, for example. I mean, yeah, that's technically true. But it's not what everybody thinks of as a ranger, right? And a hunter is not what everybody thinks of as a ranger either. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I already talked about that. Yep. Ranger could apply 3 different salves because it would be 3 upkeep points and would maintain them. Yeah, there could be a lot of cool mechanics with a ranger class. Mainly think of captains. Yeah, I can see that. But I still think a stealthed range class would be a cool addition to the game. It'd be a nightmare in PvP, but it'd be kind of cool. Or mainly hunters and wardens. Yeah, Mistweaver, I agree. I mean, I would assume rangers would only be human, but maybe not. And yeah, it would be horrible for PvP. But, you know, they were able to make it work in League of Legends and I can't even think, Dota 2. So there's ways to balance it out. You just make the range be less damage, but you know, you're stealth ranging, so you're able to do a lot of damage before the enemy notices you, kind of a thing. Yeah, they are. They are very different games. But there's ways of making a ranged damage class be balanced with others, right? Yep. Well, anyway, we've been going longer than I expected we would. A big thanks to all of you for tuning in and chatting here. I've really been enjoying it. I do think that LOTRO is headed in a good direction. I'm very excited about the Gundabad expansion. I know a lot of players are like, ugh, another place that's not the end of the story. But I'm actually really excited for it. It makes sense that we're going there. There's a lot of storylines that are going to be happening before the Scouring of the Shire, potentially, just because of the way the timeline works. Like, the Scouring takes place, you know, those hobbits have to make it all the way back, and that won't happen until after the wedding. So we got to get this wedding out of the way before the hobbits can even think about, you know, heading back. So there's still a lot of stuff to take place in LOTRO's timeline, including that drink with all those rangers. And yeah, Rune and Harad, absolutely. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of stuff, but eventually we will get to that scouring. Yeah, they have a bunch to fill in, right? Like, there's still this huge area of unknown. Let alone everything in Middle-earth. I mean, we still haven't even explored half the landmass. Yeah, and they didn't leave on the day of the wedding. Exactly. Yep. I do hope, though, that there is a whole quest line to follow the hobbits, you know, to go with the hobbits home. That might be lore breaking, but it'd be cool at least to have our own journey that takes us back, even if it's not with the hobbits exactly. But just to go back and see like what's happened to everybody this whole time that we've been gone. And yeah, Druid's Fire, we do still need Saruman's fate, because technically the War of the Ring's not over until Saruman's defeated. He was one of the two towers, right? How big is Middle-earth? Pretty big. Because, I mean, this is Middle-earth, but even beyond Middle-earth, there's all this Harad down below that leads to a jungle and all sorts of stuff that's super cool. But, like, Harad is the size of Eriador, if not even bigger. It's like the size of Rovanion. It's huge. But yeah, it's hundreds of miles is how big Middle-earth is. Alright, apparently there's a train map. But yeah, so far we have like a little over half of Eriador, because there's still a lot of spaces that we haven't explored in the southern side and then also in the north. We've explored less than half of Rovanion. We still have even some Gondor to go to. We have all of Rune to go to. We have all of Khan to go to. There's most of Mordor that, maybe not most, but there's like half of Mordor we haven't been to. There's all of Harad we haven't been to. It's huge. We haven't been to even half a load of Middle-earth. And we've been in this game for 12 years. See, Mr. Alex, man, I hope they don't. I want the Amazon MMO to be completely separate. I want something totally different. I don't know if it's not possible. They are getting their rights from different locations, but that doesn't mean that they couldn't combine forces and team up. It's excessively unlikely. But yeah, I want them completely separate. Make me a totally different thing. I don't want to just play LOTRO 2. Oh yeah, you don't want to divide the player base? See, I don't think it will. I think most LOTRO players will keep playing LOTRO. Because I think most LOTRO players that'll be playing the Amazon MMO have already left LOTRO. I think most of the players that will play the new Amazon MMO exclusively instead of LOTRO have already left LOTRO. Yeah, Amazon has more money. Obvious. But what Amazon doesn't have is 12 years of a drained down, solidified pipeline of a player base that is going to play every single update that they ever release till the end of time, because they've lasted for 12 years. They're going to last through the end. That's how I see it. 13 years. There you go. Come the anniversary in a couple days. Hey, Killer Santa, welcome. So, in my opinion, the players that have played LOTRO this far are going to play it until the end. Hey, Bellon, thank you so much for the raid. Really appreciate it, man. Welcome, everybody. We're going over the 2020 Producer's Letter for the Lord of the Rings Online. What are you up to, man? Brandeth. Yeah, man, it has been a while. I've caught a few of your streams, but just in passing. Brandeth, I'm not sure that this MMO is going to be in the Asian MMO style. I think now that Amazon's involved, it's potentially changed. I think they're taking what they started, but I think that it's going to be a collaboration and be something closer to like Guild Wars 2 than an Asian style MMO, right? I think it's going to be an Americanized version of an Asian MMO. Because keep in mind, Amazon Game Studios is a thing, and they're using the Amazon engine. I feel like that they're going to be developing this thing very differently than the Asian style. But who knows? Maybe I'm completely wrong. Yeah, and as far as we know, Druid's Fire, they still don't even have a story person. That job was still listed when I checked a couple weeks ago. So they're still hiring for their story person. So this MMO is going to be a long way off. Like, I don't think the Amazon MMO is going to be within 4 years. I think it'll be 2025 at the earliest. I could be very wrong in that, but they haven't even hired a story guy as far as I know, last I checked. The Amazon LOTR game will be released next month if the world doesn't end. I don't think so, Brandon. I don't think it's anytime soon. Not to mention the fact that Amazon still has to release their New World MMO, and it seems like that's where all their focus, as far as the Amazon Game Studios label is, it seems like that's where their whole focus is. 2025 may be a preview. I mean, yeah, it's going to be a long time. That being said, Amazon does like to do things very quickly as a company in general. But they are taking their time with New World. We're going to be dead by 2021. Work faster. Right. And so that's why they seem to be taking their time with New World. It seems like Amazon has learned that they can't go fast with MMO development. So that's good. Assuming that that's what they learned. Hey, take care, Godlike Epic. Imagine if the new LOTR MMO fails after a few years. It's possible. But here's why I don't think it will fail. Amazon owns Twitch. Every other ad on Twitch is going to be, every other ad will be for one of two things. So every other ad will be one of these. It'll be either the Amazon series, the television show, or it'll be this Amazon Lord of the Rings MMO. People see ads. Apparently they do. I'm just as surprised as you are, Chromite. Uh, I think they're going to be marketing this thing like no tomorrow. If not, then apparently Amazon is treating their MMOs completely differently than the rest of their company. Which, with New World, it seems like it might actually be the case. Yeah, exactly. Exactly, Bellon. Just like the old LOTRO MMOs. Did I say MMOs? I meant ads if I said MMOs. Just like the old LOTRO ads. And LOTRO had some awesome ads back in the day with free to play and later. They were kind of corny at times, but they had. I'm not talking about the live action one. I mean the other one they made, which was actually pretty good. Yeah, you shall not pay. That one was pretty funny, but a lot of people didn't like it too, so it was like hit or miss. But their other one that talked about them having millions of players and all the other stuff, that one was a good ad. You don't think that LOTRO had millions of players, Brandeth? I think LOTRO had millions of players when they went free to play. Keep in mind that's not concurrent players. But I think they had millions of players. Okay, yeah, millions of accounts. I'll give you that. I mean, LOTRO was a very, very big deal back in 2007. It had a very smooth launch. It won MMO Expansion of the Year on IGN in 2009 for the Mirkwood expansion and got raving reviews for the skirmish system on multiple news outlets where they went on and on about how great the skirmish system was. LOTRO's not like this backwoods MMO that a lot of people think it is. It turned into that when they stopped advertising for the game and kind of gave up on their life. But yeah, they do say in their promotional material that they had millions of players. It's voiced in one of the trailers, or written on the screen or something. It's in one of the trailers. So yeah, I think LOTRO is a very successful MMO, and I think people who, I think the player base has definitely dwindled over the years. But I mean, look at the launch of the legacy servers, right? Look at how many people were trying to log in to LOTRO's legacy servers at the same time back then. There were thousands, all at the same time. That being taken and put out across time, I think LOTRO easily has had millions of players. Yeah, I definitely don't think LOTRO has millions of players today. LOTRO might not even have hundreds of thousands of players today. But for LOTRO to last this many years, they would have had a ton of players. And the fact that people at my work in Oklahoma vaguely know about Lord of the Rings Online and heard of it once or twice. They've never played it, but they vaguely know about it. The fact that they know about it, I think that it was big enough for people to know about, at least in circles that are not even Tolkien fans. You think they'll do a server merge again? No. I wish they would. I wish we just had a mega server. Assuming lag was not an issue, I wish we had a mega server. Assuming it doesn't make lag worse, I guess is what I'm trying to say. That's literally every MMO, Andang? That is not true. Yeah, Shroud played on the Legendary server, yeah. Now, if they claim DDO had millions of players, that would shock me. That would shock me. But I can see LOTRO having millions of players at some time. Oh, right. All MMOs claim to have millions of players. And a lot of them probably have. Well, ESO definitely has millions of players. If ESO has millions of players, given how popular it is right now, LOTRO was the ESO of 2007 and 2008 when Mines of Moria came out. Mines of Moria was a really well-received expansion. And yeah, WoW's had literally tens of millions of players. But that's not LOTRO. Peak WoW subscribers. 12 million. 100 million accounts have been created for the game, though, in 2014. $100 million in 2014. And you guys don't think LOTRO reached 1 million? Yeah, absolutely. But LOTRO was huge in 2007 and 2008. But the fact that LOTRO had announced millions of players in 2010, I really do think that Mines of Moria and the base game Shadows of Angmar was way more popular than you guys seem to think. Yeah, Brenda. So let's assume that those are like similar to Twitch numbers, right? Peak being 2,000, okay? So that means over the course of a day, they probably have 10,000 players playing LOTRO. And then if you take it across, well, just looking at the server numbers, right? There's in game we've been seeing around 600 players on Landerville recently. We've shown that in streams, and that's just Landerville. If you take it across all the servers, it's probably in the thousands easy, and that's in its 13th year of the MMO. Not even right around an expansion time. Yeah, and Evernight had thousands of players. So, see? Four-hour queues on the US servers. So, yeah, I think LOTRO is way more popular than people think it is. It's just it's had very little marketing over the years. Oh, if they released an actual legendary server, I would be all over it. Yeah, I didn't play on the legendary server because I knew it was the exact same thing as a normal server. This new server is at least more interesting. They're going to be making the enemies more powerful, apparently. I just hope they don't raise player levels to match it, which it sounds like they're doing. It's good only if they allowed to use special situations for LOTR's music system. The chance of SSG having the old 2007. So apparently, we actually know, Dramolxi, that they do have the original code. Maybe not of 2007, but of old LOTRO. But those builds don't run anymore, is what they've told us. Because, you know, Windows updates and server updates on the back end of LOTRO, and the fact that LOTRO uses completely different servers now and all that stuff, it would probably take a lot of work to get it to work today, but I don't think it's an impossible challenge, and I think it would be worth, assuming it's not like years and years, I think it'd be worth the effort to bring it back, because I really do think, based on the legendary server numbers LOTRO saw when it released those, that we really could have a ton of players coming to LOTRO if they did that. Right. Yes. Or at least they're not wanting to dedicate the time or money to do that. But I think that they would make back the money and then some, personally. See, I would love a LOTRO Classic. Just for no other reason than just to see the difference between... Because we have no point of comparison other than our memories and videos. That's totally different than playing. Of what the skill tree system used to feel like. We know what it looked like. But what it felt like and what it played like, the feeling of playing it, we have no way to compare that to the live server directly. I would love to be able to compare it. I initially loved the move to the trait tree system because it was different. I was ready for something different in LOTRO. It had gotten to a static point. Since moving to the trait tree system, we've been exactly the same for 7 years. Give me something different, man. Old trait tree was really lackluster. What's the forest at the northeast of the map? You talking about Linden? East. I don't know, man. Why is there a forest up there? So basically the current system is technically older than the original trait tree system? What? If we get skills, you want class quests to get them? Yeah. I would love to see class quests come back with actual quest lines, yeah. Similar to something like SWTOR. I've been saying for years I want to see class quests like SWTOR. Yeah, that would be cool. If at the... I mean, just having like a champion-specific class line, like a whole storyline, would be awesome. I'd love to see them taking a break from, like, instead of doing one of these zones that we're getting this year, spend the time to make class quests for every single class. I would love to see that instead. Make that be the, like, all players can do content. That'd be cool. There's also the simple fact that we as players have spent years learning how to play finesse our classes, so we'll never really get the same feeling of how our classes played back then. We would be better because we're no longer noobs. Yeah, that's true, and they found that out when they did WoW Classic. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it would not be the same feeling. But if we had that today, we would be able to experience the difference between the two. And that's what I'm wanting to see. Right. It won't feel the same way as then. What I'm saying is, if we had the old stuff exactly how it was to compare to today, I would love to see that. I don't even want to, like, play it and do all that stuff. Although, I would love to see just, like, all the differences LOTRO's had since then, right? I think it'd be fun just to see everything that's changed over the years. Kind of like going through an old yearbook. Like, at the start, it seems like a really good idea, but then by the end of it, you're like, I don't know, but I guess I'm glad that I at least now know that I don't want to look through my yearbook ever again. Kind of like that. Like, I just wasted the last however much time, but at least I know that I never want to look at my yearbook again, you know? And yeah, the person changes, exactly. And you're in a different part of your life. More virtue slots would be cool, but the virtues were also way less potent. So what they've done is they've made it to where you only need 5, but those 5 are way more potent than they were when we had 8. And yeah, I like the new virtue system too. I think virtues are actually way better. They are a grind, but they're not anywhere near as much of a grind, especially for new characters. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually a really good change. Also, the LI revamp was really good as well. Um, but still, man, I would love to see the difference between how LOTRO classes used to be and how they are today. Because some classes are completely different today than how they used to be. It'd be interesting to see, especially like the Minstrel. Man, the Minstrel's different because that Rise of Isengard expansion totally changed the Minstrel completely. It'd be amazing to see how different it is. Yeah, I want to see the new LI thing too. Yep. I think, honestly, aside from Gundabad, that's probably what I'm looking forward to most. I think so. Used to be able to go from an overpower DPS and Guardian and DPS gear to a fully tanking Guardian and tanking gear in just a few seconds, yeah? Gear swapping was nice. Absolutely. I wouldn't. Oh, how would you revamp it to the old one? Okay, I see what you're saying. Just make them be more powerful. Like right now, your race doesn't matter at all in LOTRO. And then also add race quests that are a little bit more meaningful. You think would be cool is if you had your LI level 1 and it leveled with you? Yeah. Maybe not level 1, but maybe do like what SWTOR does for Jedi and have it be at like level 10 and have it be a big deal. And then have it level with you. I'd even be fine if it's at the time where it is currently, but have you only have one weapon and have it level with you. That's the biggest mistake, is that there's a million legendary items. There's more legendary items, it seems, than there are just normal items. Yeah, Druid, there's a huge difference. And how do you handle the difference and make the grind be less at the same time, right? That's a huge challenge, especially for those higher end people that have paid money for it. Because you're essentially saying, well, you paid, $200 or whatever to make your LI appear out of thin air to be fully statted. We're going to take away everything you just did. Like, that would be awful. And yeah, they legally can't bring back pre-orders because it was a limited time. Yep, they did say that. But what they can do is bring legally distinct, so, a horse that looks basically just like the other horse, but it's legally different. They can do stuff like that. But they can't bring back the exact same pre-order item. Don't change the current level caps, but change how you level it up. Right, I think having scrolls and stuff, but it sounds like what they're wanting to do is a total revamp of the whole system completely, right? Yeah, I think a lot of players would just be happy with way better and flawless scrolls dropping in a lot more situations. Exactly, Brandeth. That's what I was talking about. Yep. I like how you guys are just distracting me and there's actually more people watching now. Maybe I should just do distraction streams where you guys just bring up topics and we just talk. This is pretty chill. I like it. Just keep distracting Andang so he can never stop streaming. That's how they fudged it? Yeah, exactly. No, Mistweaver, they haven't broken the law. As long as you make a different horse, it's a different horse. Of course. Bedbuck, welcome. Nice to have you here. Personally, I'd prefer getting rid of the legacy upgrade scrolls like it was originally. You hate the idea that there's no value to RNG on an LI. So you just make an LI how you want. I agree. I do miss that part of the system. The problem is they've opened that can. And there's no putting those monkeys back in that barrel, right? Once they're out, they're out. You remember an hour ago or something he said, thank you all for me. Exactly, Brandeth, exactly. You hate imbued secondary age by mistake. Yeah, I can see that. RNG was horrible. Pre-update 2. Yeah. Ally that dropped with great legacies used to have value. That's true. It's no different from first stage, except it looks prettier. Yep. Some people could idealize with 4 legacies, and back then there were no crystals of remembrance, so those people lucked out big time. Yeah. Yeah, it was very luck based, that's true. But as far as balance, it was hard. Well, it's a little different than that, Mistweaver. They're doing a little bit more than just changing the color. Changing the color. It is dumb, but legally they're obligated to never release those items again. Oh yes, Andang is very manly. It's late at night, guys. This is what you get me into. You have your own method of summoning Chromite, screwing up your allies. You mean you don't just have a button on your desk, Druid's Fire? I just press this button right here and he pops up. It's the go live button. Every time I go live, it seems like Chromite's in the chat. Value drives the economy. That's true. I think LOTRO's economy is pretty messed up in general, though. Like, LOTRO doesn't seem to value economy in their game very much compared to other MMOs. Yeah, maybe it was just a color change then, but it's not the same one, so it's not the same one. That's the point. Yeah, that's what I was thinking, Druid's Fire. Yeah, the designs are different. Yep. How'd you voice your champion in LOTRO? Probably just like that, man. Honestly, if you watch Fellowship of the Creeps... No, not Fellowship of the Creeps. What was that show we did? There was a roleplay show we did... Free People of Middle-earth? What was it? There was some roleplay show we did back on LOTRO Players back in the day. And we basically did Dungeons and Dragons, but as if it was in Lord of the Rings Online. And I role-played a champion in some of the later episodes when I was actually a player instead of the DM. It's completely gone when you used to pay 100 gold. Some of the richest people on the server, yeah. But, I mean, it's probably, in their defense, excessively hard to maintain economy for 13 years in a game with progression like LOTRO. Because, like, LOTRO's hit, like, what a lot of players think of as, like, alright, this is, like, as good as it's ever going to get way back in Moria. And every expansion since then, they've continued to, you know, up things, and it's been, that's just how MMOs work, I feel like. For the first 6 years, okay. Yeah, you can make a ton of gold real quick. Yep. Absolutely. Alright, well, at one point we did reach more viewers than we had subs, so I'm going to go ahead and not do a giveaway tonight because I think I'd share that information. Let me switch over here. We'll still do this. Give me a moment, and we'll do a gift sub. Here we go. Close up of his beard. Yeah. Hey, there we go. Hey, Druid's Fire. There we go. Enjoy the sub, Druid's Fire. Rigged, absolutely. Enjoy the ad-free viewing, the extra interesting month, the giveaway, the badges, the emotes, and everything else that comes with a sub here on Twitch. From one fire to another. Man, that's lit. Oh my gosh. But yeah, I never even thought about that. Now it's like extra rigged when I give something to Druid's Fire, right? Because we both have fire in our name now. That's funny. Oh my gosh. Hey, the final brownie. Welcome, welcome. I mean, yeah, that's true. I changed my name. I changed my name. It's not rigged, it's burnt. All right. That's funny. Do you guys see 3 peaks on that mountain? I mean, to be fair, Gundabad does have 4 peaks. That looks like a 4th peak there. I know it's supposed to be 3, but that looks like a 4th peak. 4 peaks confirmed. Let's see. I can. That made it worse. Yeah, that's as good as it's gonna get. Tiny 5th one. Yeah, that's true. There's a 5th one. There are 4 peaks. What does it mean? Half-Life 3 confirmed. When you're so big an empire in Realm Total War 2 that you can literally become trustworthy again after backstabbing once. A TNG joke. Yeah, I know, Druid's Fire. I was making another joke. You wonder what PvP servers mean? Well, so far it sounds like a server. But see, then you see things like this, where it's just like one mountain. But I think it's lore appropriate that it's actually 3 peaks. Yeah, it means Freeps versus Freeps. Yeah, it's not gonna be... It's not PvMP. It's PvP. That sounds like a Glowine voice one there. The only peak I see is the one I hit in high school. Yeah, like what the Russian servers did a long time ago, but not as open world as it's gonna be. No, it's not gonna be monster play. Well, we don't actually know how this is going to work, but it does sound like that there aren't going to be actual quests and it's going to be a battleground. But it sounds like... so first of all, this is a temporary server. Allow players to fight each other for honor, with the defeated required to retreat from the battlefield. So it's not going to be the whole server. Rally themselves and move back into the world to continue to fight. Although it does say the world. To me, these are 2 competing terms, battlefield and world. The Sons of Elrond and LOTR discussion, pride, greatest leader, greatest heroes, follow the banner. Venture forth to complete deeds and challenge heroes that align with your rival. Earn milestones, deeds. There's nothing about quests in here. Yeah, it would. It sounds like it might be something like that, yeah. Do you want more flashbacks in LOTRO like session plays? No, but I would love to see more flashbacks in LOTRO like what we did with Minas Morgul, where they had an entire zone and your champion's just like the champion that was in the Second Age, and they do it that way. That was awesome, and I'd love to see so much more of that. I'd love it if that's all LOTRO was moving forward after the Scouring of the Shire, was just flashbacks. Do flashback PvP? That would be pretty awesome. I was saying that I would like have clans of, you know, the Arnor thing happen. Imagine if you had an actual war of like Arnor falling apart as LOTRO PvP. That would be so good. And then just excuse away the fact that there's elves and hobbits and everything else being there too. But that would be way better than Elladan and Elro here being in a pride battle, I'm just saying. Flashback PvP is Osculia PvP, actually, right? Yeah, exactly. So, anyway, everybody, that does finally bring this stream to a close, I think. Thank you guys so much for being so active. The Kinstrife, that would be cool. Amarwin. Interrupting my end again. Thank you, Amarwin. Someone start another conversation. No. No, you guys are the worst. Stop it. What about the Great Plague? Yeah. That's tough. Yeah, just have one player be Gandalf and have all the other players be the enemies in the Great Plague. Absolutely. Could you imagine, though, server-wide Great Plague? That'd be pretty epic. And all of a sudden, like, you have to go save all the... Like, probably not a good idea to have it right now during Corona, but it'd be pretty cool. I mean, yeah, it's kind of 2:30 in the morning right now, and I'm used to going to bed at 1, but I don't work tomorrow, so, you know, I'm good continuing this stream, I guess. You have a house and you know how to use it. Probably gonna stop streaming before you come back. Alright, take care, Brain Death. 24-hour stream. I mean... You want an event where creeps siege all 7 Minas Tirith tiers? I mean, that would be pretty awesome. The darkest timeline. If you had a PvP thing for the darkest timeline that LOTRO's already covered, that would be pretty cool. But man, that would be way too much lag. Like that really would end LOTRO's servers. I mean, I guess they could probably instance each tier of the city into be its own thing. I don't know. There's already enough lag in LOTRO. No, Andang needs his beauty sleep, I guess. Maybe. I don't know. I'm now contemplating if we should just keep talking. I'm enjoying the time here, guys. I know you guys seem to be too. I've been watching a lot of Johnny Carson on YouTube. I don't know why. But man, it's been good. Okay. Also, I found out Community's on Netflix today. I'm like, I need Netflix. I need Netflix now. I need to resub. Gotta watch through all that. Because I watched a really interesting video about how Community is basically just Recess. Like, if you look at the story beats, it's basically just Recess in college. I don't know if you guys remember the Disney show called Recess. But there's a lot of episodes that line up with a lot of episodes in Community. It's kind of interesting. Anyway, like I said, I am excited to see where we go. It does seem like that LOTRO might be doing a smaller amount of content this year. Because I'm trying to figure out... Hold on. Wait a second. The War of the Three Peaks is going to be an update before the expansion, right? We're going to have this update at the end of the Anduin River. That's the first one. We then somehow get to the War of the Three Peaks, which is somehow going to be another zone in here. And then we have the whole Gundabad zone. So I'm guessing the Gundabad expansion will mostly be underground. That's the only way I see them having this many updates before Gundabad. Or these updates are going to be really small. Yeah, maybe. Maybe it'll go into the Misty Mountains more. That actually might make sense. If they go up to Upper Anduin and then kind of go into the Misty Mountains more, and then we come on like the backside of Gundabad. That'd be interesting. Hey Sam, welcome, welcome. Yeah, that'd be interesting. Anyway, enough about all that. I'm starting to close tabs. We really are shutting this thing down. The Northern Misties linking up to Angmar. Yeah, I've been wanting Gundabad to link up with Angmar, because story-wise it should. Story-wise it absolutely should. And I guess they could technically do flashback zones in the Gundabad expansion, and then, you know, everything's up to chance. So who knows? Who knows what they're going to do? But either way, I'm optimistic about this year in LOTRO, especially with the wedding and everything else, and looking forward to the next expansion next year. This is probably the longest producer's letter video I've ever done, at over 2 hours now. So I'm going to go ahead and end off. Thank you everyone so much for tuning in tonight. I really do appreciate it. Druid's Fire, enjoy that gift sub, and let's find somebody to raid. Let's see, guys. This is who we got going. Let me know which of these 5 you want to raid. We're going to have a weird looking screen for a while. But let me know which of these 5 you guys want to raid. As we go off into infinity. And first person to respond. Raid someone who plays LOTRO. Alright, that limits it to the current person that's only playing LOTRO. You can suggest that, but we already had a response. It was first come, first serve here, Druid's Fire. Here we go. Queuing up that raid. The Andang cosplay show. Oh my goodness. We can't do the Andang cosplay show. You don't want to see that show. Especially with the new Twitch guidelines. Oh my goodness. They changed them today, apparently. Apparently it's now okay to show cleavage in certain situations. Anyway. But the pelvis area is off limits. That's what we learned. In case you're wondering about Twitch guidelines, everybody. Anyway, let's go ahead and have fun with this raid. Take care, everybody. Have a great night. I will be streaming tomorrow some Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord, which I am stinking addicted to. Seriously, that game is so much fun. And I can't wait to go back in and just conquer everything and run a kingdom and a warband, and oh my goodness, it's so much fun. It's like running a Viking war party all the time, man. It's awesome. Anyway, take care, everybody. Have a great night, and I'll see you again tomorrow after this raid.